Good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Young. I'm just going to walk you through a quick presentation on automotive. So, the automotive industry in general is pretty well stationed around Ontario. So, when you look at it, it stretches from basically Oshawa all the way down to southwestern Ontario up to Honda. That's directly where the automotive production. It doesn't mean that there's not auto parts plants straddled around different areas, but the predominant area stretches from that area. So, it's outside the GTA. When you get outside of the main GTA of Toronto and you get into Oakville and in Oshawa, the rest of the plants are down down in southwestern Ontario or up in towards Barrie. And the reason why I want to bring that up there, you need to get a perspective of where the job distribution is and where it benefits the province in general. And that's really what I wanted to drive at here. Let's talk about automotive production itself. In North America, Ontario, predominantly Ontario, was producing about 17% of the total automotive production in 2007. We're now in 2015 and we're producing about 12% of it now. And everybody's going to put up their arms and say, well, what happened? Well, there's a number of factors that have happened. The Mexican market has picked up a lot more production to support their local market as well as exports. A lot of foreign producers have gone to Mexico to set up operations both on a cost perspective as well as the way NAFTA works with things. Now, the Unifor will yell about that. We didn't get those jobs, but I'll go into more specifics why we lost some of those jobs and investment. Let's talk about automation and talk about what's happened in automotive in general in the last 20 years. We are seeing a lot more robotic welding, so automation's happened. Laser weldings come in to help better make stronger welds and as well as lead to more lightweight metals being used in vehicles to kind of focus on fuel standards because that's really what some is driving is that fuel standard aspect of it, so you get more mileage out of your cars. The other area that's come into, and this is called modular manufacturing. What that really means is that Tier 1 and Tier 2 automotive parts companies basically were shrunken down in the 90s over the last couple decades to where companies were trying to, the automotive manufacturers like Chrysler, Ford, and GM were trying to manufacture, basically strictly focus on assembly, so they put more pressure on their supply chains to basically produce parts of the vehicle, and then all they would do is assemble. Flexible manufacturing just means basically companies are able to turn around and produce something on demand more. So for example, if one vehicle is not selling, another one is, they are able to offset that by rejigging their manufacturing around to handle that. Just in time is just a way to manage inventory. Now, basically, NDP and Unifor are joined at the hip. That's all you need to know at this point. So any support or statements the NDP do will be backing Unifor. Let's talk about the auto bail quickly. It was required. It was promoted by Jack Layton as part of the overall economic benefits, and you just need to be aware of it. It was never designed to make money. It was designed to support an industry. Let's talk about automotive itself. Now, this area is showing you Manitoba, British Columbia, Quebec, and Ontario. Now, it looks at all aspects of transportation. That's why you're seeing Manitoba listed, because New Flyer Buses is there. You're seeing Quebec listed because it's talking about the transportation hub and some of the aluminum stuff. And then you're seeing Ontario with the predominantly the manufacturing, and you're also seeing some of the areas like British Columbia when they're getting into batteries and other aspects of fuel cells. Let's talk about what Harper's done. Harper's invested in plants like Ford. He's invested in plants like Honda, and he's invested in plants like Toyota. So despite what the union said, he's promoted those. Let's talk about government policies. Harper's focus at a federal level, what he can control is taxation. He can control R&D, and he can control trade agreements to help expand things in terms of exports. Now let's talk about in general what factors are driving or impacting automotive investment in Ontario that are beyond the scope of what Stephen Harper can do. Now, in particular cases, the input costs. The input costs are made into two areas. One area is labor, which is union contracts. B is the hydro rates, C is materials. Those are the bulk of what you're going to see in terms of cost. So if Ontario has to be competitive, it has to be competitive on the labor cost, it has to be competitive on its hydro rates, it has to be competitive on its taxation rates, it also has to be competitive on its overall ability to get products to market. This is not what you're hearing from on the debate with Unifor. Unifor seems to think you basically have to give all this money to support the industry. Industries need to be able to stand on their own. Government has a role to play in help modernization on the R&D front, and that's what Harper's done. But you'll never get that from either Thomas Mulcair or Justin Trudeau on how the role of government should be in the automotive sector. And reason I'm pushing it out that way, you need to stop listening to the rhetoric from the Unifor and start really looking at the facts that drive decisions by business. And it's not one policy that drives business investment. And that's the key thing to remind yourself when you're making your vote.